let's do this.
All right, then let's go into game number 3 right now, ladies and gentlemen, as Ascent and Vanquish are tied up for our first best of 3 going all the way here for the August road to BlizzCon. Ascent won game number 1. They lost game number 2, but their map choice of Tomb of the Spider Queen is absolutely real. First pick, first ban going their way as well. I'm going to say no dice to Kael'thas.
Kael'thas is out. Not Jaina, not Zeratul. It's going to be Kael'thas. Not even a Zagara, who is fantastic on this battleground. Her creep provides so much vision of both turn-in points, and it's not like Blackheart's Fae. There are 2 turn-in points, and it's a lot harder to have vision over both of them, but Zagara is one of the best ways to do so. Vanquish not banning Azmodan. They're banning Jaina, so Zagara is on the board still, but so is the Azmodan.
All right, so the mages are out. Not going to see any mage backline. Ascent now has a big choice. If they want that Asmo, they have to kind of do it now, because Vanquish probably will counterpick it. Might be terrible, but they might just counterpick it straight out. That, or they could absolutely just go for like targeting the supports about it. And Ascent are going to say, all right, well, you left Zeratul up. We are going to go for the Zeratul. So you got 1 out of 2 miss. I'll give you 50% as a passing grade here today.
It's not a passing grade, but thank you.
But Leoric is still here. Zagara is still here. Azmodan is still here. Uther has been, I think, a first round of picks. Not like the first pick, but the first round before the bans in all of our games here so far.
Okay, so we have Zeratul. Vanquish could get Johanna Asmo right here, but they've shown they like Leoric, and they are going to grab Leoric. Leoric's still pretty good at helping Asmo try to get stacks, but that really depends on if Vanquish feels comfortable playing him. We haven't seen them play him. They might instead go for Zagara here. I think it would most likely be Zagara if it's not going to be that, but they're taking their time thinking. If they give that up, then Ascent still has the possibility of going Johanna and the Asmo before the next round of bans. Maybe they're just leveraging that, trying to make sure that they could get the Zeratul.
They're thinking about it. All right. It would actually be double warrior going forward. So they take away the Johanna. As I said, if they're not going to be a counter pick here from Vanquish for that Asmo, they might just target the other part of it. And look at this. Jaina ban, Johanna pick. If Ascent, and Leoric as well, if Ascent still wants to run that Asmo, you got to kind of draw to the alternatives. Vala, Tassadar, Rhaegar with Lightning Shield. You are going to have to kind of build a little bit differently. And, you know, is that the best synergy for Zeratul? So I think Ascent's going to try to change their game plan. There's not even going to be an Azmodan pick going forward. They might actually be able to bait it out for Vanquish ban, but I think Ascent's now going to try to just build the best that they can without revolving around the big guy.
So you mentioned Vala is still available, and Tassadar too. Tassadar being a really good counter to a Zeratul. If they could pick that up and deny that for Vanquish, they're going to have vision potential for themselves and also keep them from being able to have Oracle to try to counter Zeratul. They could go Tassadar and Zagara. Zagara is still on the table, and she's one of that top ones. But they're going to go ahead and pick up their warrior too. They already know that the warrior pool is a bit limited, and a ban from Vanquish on Muradin could really limit them even further. So Muradin is going to be the choice for Ascent. With one more, I cannot believe that Zagara still hasn't been picked up, but I really think that if we don't see it here, then maybe in a ban, because she is so powerful.
There's a big chance that Zagara is actually not even going to get picked up. If the teams are going to go into this whole double warrior trying to kill each other setup, they might just try to grab as many ranged DPS as possible without even looking at the special. Like as I said, I don't think Azmodan's really going to be a big contender anymore, at least for Ascent. Vanquish, if they're confident with it, they might pick it up. But I would probably try to prioritize Vala, Sylvanas, Falstad, that kind of thing. But, as I say that, Ascent just going to prove us wrong and take the Zagara, so it's all good. But, the vibe is definitely a little different than game number 1, game number 2 for the bans.
Yeah, it feels very brawlery with trying to get rid of those very high burst damage dealers. I mean, we have Kael'thas and Jaina, the 2 big spellcasters out of this. Now we have the next set of bans. Looking at this, Vanquish have 2 warriors, but they are going to have picks right away after these bans. So they are going to ban one support, they'll pick up their next support, and kind of leave Ascent with the leftovers there. They're banning Malfurion. Ascent I think I would like to see Ascent go with a damage dealer in it. They are going to choose to ban the Azmodan. They are afraid.
Well, the thing is, I'm not entirely too sure Vanquish has a Azmodan player. I mean, they've had a Kael'thas player. I guess it could actually be very similar there, but both of the specialists will be highly priced because the Zagara was finally picked up, and now Azmodan is actually out. So either way, we're not going to be seeing the big guy on this match, and this means that Vanquish, with their double warrior, they need to put some ranged on the table. And the only kind of range that, again, kind of just sit out there right now is Nazeebo, who will probably be a pickup here for Vanquish to go against, the pushing power Zagara, Sylvanas, Vala, and Falstead. Those are kind of the big picks that I'm thinking of. Vanquish banning out Malfurion is slightly weird, but I guess they didn't have any notion to run it themselves, and they really didn't want Ascent to have it. They pick up an Uther.
Makes me wonder if they've got something up their sleeves, but I don't know what it would be since they've already shown the double warrior. It will be Vala picked up. It's going to be a good, a big help in trying to reduce some of the creep tumors from Zagara. Her multi-shot very effective with that.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, they've actually got a really good composition for reducing out those creep tumors between the three of them, or between all of the 4 heroes they've picked up. Ascent now have 2 heroes left. Support will be one of them. After that, it's whatever they're feeling. If they feel confident with the single Warrior of Myrddin, they could pick up Sylvanas still on the table. Falstad possibly, although Vanquish was the one I think who was running him before. Maybe, is there a possibility maybe for a Tassadar here? What is happening?
All right, well, I was going to say call me crazy. You could actually fit a Tychus into this. Did not expect to see the other Marine instead. It will be Raynor entering the fray.
Anytime you're ready.
Okay.
So single target burst is something we talk a lot about against double warriors. And with Vala on the side of Vanquish, usually what we see is a Falstad if it's not going to be a Vala. Raynor still has a very viable single target build. He can go into Giant Killer. He has the Vampiric ready to go, Berserk, and I don't actually remember what else he would get for that. But he still actually has the core kit there. He has the Banshees ready to go there as well. He could even go into zone control with the Hyperion. It's just not a pick we see a lot of in the meta.
No, not at all. But we're going to see it here. He is an interesting pickup here. I'm ready to see how much Ascent is comfortable with him. It might be a pocket pick, and they're a big fan of Raynor. Sylvanas will be the final pickup for Vanquish. Much more standard here. She's going to help them with their pushing. She will also be there for fights with Wheeling Arrow. That's going to be a big help too. And now we're looking at the double warrior lineup of Vanquish versus the more damage dealer heavy favored composition from Ascent.
So anytime you see a melee assassin on a team, you have to wonder if we're still going to see a double warrior, because double warrior melee, a lot of the healers in terms of like Uther and Rhaegar are also melee there as well. So that's a big clump up that you got to kind of try to avoid, especially against people like Azmodan, Kael'thas, Zagara. Now we had Kael'thas, Azmodan, and Zagara already, either out or to the side of Ascent. So they could have actually gone for the double war by the end of it, but they're going to try their hand at Raynor. And I'm looking at his talent calculator on an awesome site I call Heroes Fire, but something that comes to mind is, again, like if it's going to be a single target shred, we can go into Seasoned Marksman, Vampiric, Fight or Flight for his own self-cleanse, which is absolutely adorable, Raynor's Raiders, Giant Killer, Berserk, and then Nexus Frenzy. That could be a heck of a shredding build. If it's not going to be that, then you're probably going to see the Penetrating Round build. That's very common, but you're still almost guaranteed, I want to say, to see Raynor's Raiders. I mean, the single target nature of like catching out a wayward DPS or forcing down a tank is almost, in my mind, it's almost a guaranteed pickup for an ult here.
Oh yeah, the only thing I could think of is that the zoning from Hyperion, if you're throwing it down kind of like you would maybe with the Syndragosa, you throw it as you are kind of pushing in toward the structures.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll see that, but with the double warrior, I also I agree with you that most likely it will be the Raynor's Raiders there. Looks like we're just starting to get members of Vanquish into the lobby here. I'm very curious about this Raynor, but I do like that they've got a lot of like very auto attack, single target focus between Zagara and Raynor.
Yep.
And then Zeratul even too. Most likely the build has been favoring auto attacks with the focus attack and follow through.
All right, so there is a little bit of a weakness to the Ascent comp. Zeratul, Zagara. Both of those ultimates of the Void Prison and the Maw can clash. If you Void Prison a Maw, for example, you're not going to get really a lot of value out of it. If they can keep them separate, that's a lot of zone control afforded to Ascent. They can cut off an escape, they can bring someone down to the depths, and then they can use that single target shred between the Zeratul, Zagara, Raynor in order to try to take someone down. So there is a lot of opportunity for Ascent to control a lot of the battleground moving forward, but there's also an opportunity here for Vanquish to capitalize on any kind of mess up. If Ascent do kind of flub the combo, then Vanquish will have a heck of a better time just, coming back into it, obviously. But that's something that we are going to have to keep in mind as Ascent. They played phenomenally well in game number 1. They took a very convincing series, but game number 2 was definitely the Vanquish game. It's very hard to call which way this is going to go for game number 3.
Yeah, and there's with it being the smallest battleground in the pool, there's a big potential for roaming, ganking. We're going to see a lot of rotations, probably from both teams here. Ascent, they're going to be looking to try to spread out that creep. If she goes for the endless creep at level 7, that will really be when you'll start to see the creep really start to, for lack of a better word, creep up into the top turn-in point. But for now, as long as we see her bot, she'll be focusing on keeping control of one of those turn-ins, the bottom one, and then they'll be keeping most of their members around the top one, just trying to really control those points. If they can do that and get a couple of turn-ins and really get the lane pushed for their advantage, then from there, they're really going to be looking to just continue to control those points, force Vanquish to fight with a lot of gems on their persons, and that makes you play and fight scared, because you don't want to drop those, you don't want to lose those, and then not be able to really come back and push your lanes back.
Well, we're going to have to see which way this goes. Tomb of the Spider Queen does lend itself to a lot of roaming potential between the teams. It's a very small battleground, and the lanes are very compact. And if you can keep killing off your opponents and taking them down, you are going to be affording yourself a decent gem lead and map presence to boot there as well. But loading in, I'm again super excited because game number 3, these teams are neck and neck, and it's a shame that only one of them can kind of move on, but there is Blizzbucks on the line. The round of 64, whoever wins into this goes into 32, and the team itself earns $300 into the net balance. So there's a lot on the line for these two new teams. Not entirely too sure who they're going to be facing after this, but either way, on the left-hand side, once more, it's going to be the team of Ascent, Mr. Tobacco, Subs, Pericletos, Emperor, and Oromis once more.
And their opponents, they are Vanquish with Juke Step, Profusional, Ultima, and Cirque, and Surveillance. And important to note here, the winner of this game not only moves on to the round of 32, I believe, or no, so the round of 16, they also have to...
No, this is round of 64.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm getting confused. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, it's all good.
But they'll move on to the round of 32. They'll also be facing Complexity.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ouch. I mean, still, hey, you get to the 32, you go home with money. You are right. It does look like Vanquish and Ascent, Complexity did beat out Dream Team, and based upon what I heard about Dream Team, not too much of a surprise, but yeah, whoever goes up against Complexity is definitely going to be put to the test, because Complexity has not only gotten into the round of 8 before as well, but they've been very close to qualifying in the July qualifiers, and they are, you can know that they're chomping at the bit to get into that top 8 spot again.
They were 4th place last time. They're going to be looking, they've got their sights set on being able to get into that America's Championship, but we're focusing on this game now, and some interesting talent choices coming out as both Zeratul and Raynor are going to be going for Seasoned Marksman, so focusing on those auto attacks, but even Zeratul going to be going for picking up those stacks, not going to be going with the safer region master pickup.
All right, so Oromis once more as that Zagara. He's really having a tough time pushing out. We have stemmed any kind of big one-on-one potential that the Zagara was going to have. And we saw last time, Surveillance just really wasn't able to keep up with it. But I like what's going on. We're seeing the ping-pong strategy come in, where Subs and Pericletos, and actually even Emperor as well, they're going back and forth, back and forth. You might be like, why are they doing that? Aren't they losing experience? Well, the answer is no. And because both of them have Seasoned Marksmen, if they can capitalize on 2 sets of lanes this early consistently, their Seasoned Marksman is going to get stacked up very quickly.
Yeah, on top of that, they're
so
also
quickly that they're gonna get a win.
they're able to take out Johanna. They're also building up Perfect Storm, which Verdant did pick up. So every time Stormbolt hits somebody, it's going to increase that damage. They're going to move up top, maybe be able to take down Answer here, who is going to be slow. They're trying to catch him, and Mr. Tobacco is right up there. And yes, he will go down. The second takedown, a very early takedown game.
Remember, Seasoned Marksman gives stacks for takedowns as well, so they're going from lane to lane, getting not only the creeps, but as well 2 takedowns to their name. Again, that's just going to be building up very nicely, and it does reinforce that, okay, it's not going to be Vampiric for Raynor, will be focused attack, but still reinforces the idea that I was talking at draft. He is going to be focusing on single target. The rest of the build is still, again, very likely to be going the way that I mentioned a little bit earlier, but the Zeratul as well, I mean, that auto attack build with the season, it's going to pay off in spades, especially if they can keep getting the pressure of, roaming around. They can limit the gems of their opponents, they can get stacks for themselves, and they're going to be setting themselves up nice for a mid-game power spike with those ultimates coming into play as well.
And the more that they are able to get these rotations in, the more scared they will make their opponents. Vanquish will have to play further back. That might make them miss out on some experience from laning. They might miss out on some of the gems, and they'll just have to play a little bit from behind here. Now, the Stormbolt going in on Juke Step, but she will drop Iron Skin to be able to escape.
A little bit of Brofesional play coming back into it. Ultima's here as well. Is he going to be looking for a stun on someone for the combo? I'm not entirely too sure they're going to have the damage in order to take down anybody into that mid, but Surveillance, again, he's had a little bit of help there from his friends. He has contained Oramis, and that is going to the Vanquish name, but 16 gems, 16 more for Tobacco. They put in 32. They're going to be looking for that first turn-in fairly soon, as they do have enough in the bank in order to summon down these Web Weavers.
Oramis is trying really hard to get creep spread around this bottom turn-in point. It doesn't have that endless creep yet, so it is pretty hard. It's pretty easy to clean up still at this point. Ultimate going to be able to turn in here. Surveillance picking up an interesting talent. Ranger's Ambush at level 4, using Haunting Wave to teleport refill all charges of Withering Fire.
I accidentally took it once upon a time, and in terms of aggression, it will allow you to keep up that aggression. The thing is, I mean, now you have to use your Haunting Wave offensively. You don't have to, but that's what the talent kind of specializes towards, right? You get off your auto attacks, throw out your dagger, you empty your Withering, and then you throw out the Ranger's Ambush, and once you teleport to it, you get a 5 more stacks. So you got to get a lot of worth out of it, and I'm not too sure that will happen. Ultima, however, not going to happen. He's going to drop there as the 3rd takedown of the game, and more gems now getting denied here to the team of Vanquish. As Emperor goes right into Answer, and he's going to force out that Wraith Walk.
Level 7 talents now being secured for Ascent with these takedowns they've been able to get, and so far we've got Revolution Overdrive for Raynor, so getting movement speed while affected by Inspire. Yeah, I think
I would have expected the self-cleanse because, oh, he actually took it this time. The Rhaegar actually took the cleanse. It took him 2 games, but it finally happened.
Yeah, because it's Ascent's Rhaegar, right?
Oh, right, that's right, yeah. That's why I was advocating for the self-cleanse, because so far, 0 for 2 on Rhaegar not getting it, but you're right, it's Ascent with it this time, yeah.
And endless creep too, so get ready for that creep to really start to spread. They want to have control over that center of the battleground. They want to see basically they want Vanquish to try to get as many gems not turned in, and then have so many on their persons. And then once they win takedowns, they can start denying those turn-ins even more. Level 7 talents now picked up here on the side of Vanquish too, as these Web Weavers start to push in. And Uther once again not going cleanse.
Yeah. He's going Clairvoyance for the Zeratul, which is not a bad counter. How many stuns do we actually have on the side of Ascent? Well, it's really just the Mirrodin at this point. Later on, we could actually talent out Raynor to get it, but again, I'm thinking he's going to go into Giant Killer and Berserk, not exactly the stun on that penetrating round, but we'll have to see. The Clairvoyance will be good for trying to maintain control up against Subs, but at this point, they're definitely trying. I mean, we've had the 1 turn-in. We are down a level. We're going to be looking at level 10 very shortly here for Ascent. And Ascent have really made their roaming work on this small little battleground.
Yeah, they've also gotten a lot of experience from that first Web Weaver spawn phase. They took down 4 towers and are nearing their heroic abilities. So if there's going to be a turn-in for Vanquish, this has got to be the time to do it. This is the only time they can fight, because once Ascent gets to their heroic abilities, they're going to force Vanquish back, and no turn in there. It looks like nobody really trying to turn in here, and in fact, Jukestep might be caught out here. Emperor was body blocking, but she is going to use Iron Skin be able to get away. Answer coming in, a team fight here as neither team quite has their heroic abilities. Ascent are going to back off, wait until they get those. They know that they've stalled out enough that they've once again stopped the turn in now, for now.
Well, there's the level 4s coming, sorry, the level 10s coming into it. It's going to be Hyperion. All right, so we're probably going to be looking for a big wombo combo here, Gilly. Like, it's got to either be the Maw or the Void Prison to set up for that Hyperion. It's either that or they just don't care about the kills at this point. They know they're 3 up. They got that level advantage. They have a second set of Web Weavers coming into it. They might just straight out try to push with it.
Well, yeah, they have. It does a lot of damage with its Yamato cannon to structures. Ultima getting caught out here will go down with a few gems, but nothing too big. And a second Web Weaver phase in a row for Ascent, and that's where they're going to start trying to deal damage. Here it comes. The Hyperion is down and away, and look how fast that fort falls.
Man, I cannot wait to see if this is going to pay off for the team of Ascent. They're really putting a lot of their power into this pushing. I mean, I could have sworn it was going to be the single target with those Banshees, but hey, if they can use the Hyperion for every push, they might just be able to get far enough ahead to make it worthwhile. We do have the level 10s now on the flip side. Strafe, Divine Shield, we got the Blessed Shield there as well. What will Leoric go? Will it be the return to the Entomb? Will we finally see a March of the Black King? There's the Wailing Arrow, and it is going to be the March.
March of the Black King has arrived, but he's not going to get the chance to use it as he's trying to defend in mid. They have been able to successfully defend the rest of their forts, but the bottom lane very far pushed up in favor of Ascent. They've even thrown creep tumors down on their way in and out. And look at the creep spread. The bottom lane completely covered. The bottom turn in as well. The only thing remaining, the only possible place to try to turn in without being seen for Vanquish will be top, and that's exactly where they're headed.
Well, Ultimo, Brofigno, and crew, they are in that top area, as said. And, well, we got some of those mercenaries. The Stone Bros will be putting out some heavy lifting into the bottom lane there, but it's going to be more or less the defense here from Ascent. They need to make sure that they can keep their walls. They have no mule that I checked, and they do not. So any kind of big damage is going to be permanent at this point. And let's take a quick look. Raynor, did I hit the right button? Yes, all right. Raynor, 25 stacks on that seasoned marksman, so he's hitting 25 a shot. Zeratul at 21. Big fight now setting up, though. Void Prison is already down.
It is, and here comes the Hyperion on top of it. Devouring Maw does not catch anyone, but does body block Juke Step at least. Hyperion only going to be zoning, putting some damage down on those towers as it goes through. But it does push back Vanquish enough that Ascent are able to take down the Web Weavers. So far, no fort has fallen. They've taken down top and mid. Only bottom remains. And thankfully, they didn't have to really worry about that for a long time because it was so pushed in their favor. Ascent, ahead in experience, about to get 13, should be able to do so with some of these big minion waves coming in. 72 gems sitting on Vanquish right now. And if Ascent are ready, they're going to be able to kind of stall out, maybe even pushing away once again. But a push is going in on top for Vanquish.
Yeah, it feels a little dangerous, but you see the wormhole kind of coming into play. Sub's ready to go. We do have the Giant Killer there on Raynor, and we know that we don't have a Void Prison, we don't have a Devouring Maw. That's why we're trying to do this little bit of a greedier push here from Vanquish. They need to get some kind of pressure somewhere, and if they can make it happen or even take a kill, then they might actually have enough pressure on the map in order to turn in those gems. Unfortunately, a kill is something that they don't even have one of. 0 sitting there on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and they're down a talent tier, level 13, achieved for Ascent, and you're right, Giant Killer was the pickup for Raynor. Also, we've got the Healing Surge for Rhaegar, and Burning Rage, Wormhole, and Mutalisk for Zagara. And now Creep Tumors are on the top turn in point 2. And it's completely controlled. This is exactly what I mentioned with the Zagara. Ascent controlling these turn-ins, controlling the gems, turning in all that they have. They still have 26 more. But like mad, Vanquish are running around trying to get rid of those Creep Tumors.
Going back and forth, the information control is definitely very tight here for Ascent. Really only the Clairvoyance to rely on here for Vanquish. Spooks goes in, or Subs goes in, once more with that wormhole, but it was enough. The bottom was the turn-in, and this will be the third set of Web Weavers coming down for Ascent. And with that level lead coming in, it's not a talent advantage, but they definitely got the level lead. If they're going to be pressuring out top, if they're going to be pressuring out mid, they can absolutely get a fort. Their bottom, however, is not very far forward, so there's not going to be a big value there unless we see a rotation.
Most of them are are going to focus here on the mid. Even if they just distract their opponents, it means that the Web Weavers will push uninhibited here. So that's what they're trying to do. Hyperion goes through, and already the fort is down to half health, pushing back the members of Vanquish even further as they finish off that fort. The Web Weaver still just slightly alive. Void Prison comes down and hits so many members. We are going to see Answer try to Wraith Walk to the other side. Devouring Maw hits nobody, though, once again.
As I said, like, this is, I don't know why they're trying to set up this combo. Like, they had just used Hyperion. There's nobody else to combo anything on that. So why are we doing this? And 0 for 2 by the end of it as well. I think Ascent could have been so much farther ahead if they had just used them as in conjunction rather than, or separate instead of in conjunction, because so far we've yielded 0 out of that combination.
Yeah, the one thing is they did at least distract enough that now the Web Weaver is pushed into the keep, but they're not going to be able to do too much here. And in fact, Strafe plus Wailing Arrow means they're taking a lot of damage here. Ancestral Heal has to bring Zagara back up, but Raynor is going to be the target. He's pretty low, but he does have that self-heal with his Adrenaline Rush. Soothe now is going to be chased down by Surveillance, but will be able to get away, at least for now. But we are turning this fight. Johanna is going to fall. Surveillance going to take the easy way back, or the safer way, as they don't want to lose any more gems. 81 being held by Vanquish.
We still actually have Divine Shield, and I don't know why we didn't throw it down on top of Johanna. Maybe it just came off of cooldown or something. March of the Black King. Have you seen a single March of the Black King?
No.
Because I don't recall actually seeing one as of yet, and I keep looking at it, and the cooldown is always there. Maybe it's bugged. Let's take a look.
Where is the setup?
That's totally not. Nope, it's totally done. It's still up. Okay.
Like, where's the setup for it? That's my thing. They do have frost shots.
Isn't really
they've
much
got
fun.
like yeah, they've got that kind of slow. Holy shock! Holy cow! Why is that being picked up there on Uther?
Yeah. Instead of healing someone, he can take 50% of that damage and hit the opponent. Oh, finally, opponent that they might actually take down. That's a lot of gems out on the board. Oh, no, I lied. I think he actually just turned in like the last pull, so he doesn't have really any to go to the name. But still, finally, that is the first takedown here for Vanquish, as they're just not doing so well, not only on the pressure, but the takedowns at 6-1, and multiple forts now missing on their end. Of course, we also have that heat pressure now mounting into the bottom lane. We've got Stone Bros down there as well with the Siege Giants, and I gotta say, so far, it's pretty much just Ascent in control, but they are gonna take a back seat on this one and take a little bit more of a defensive stance, defending against the Web Weavers.
Yeah, unfortunately for Vanquish, they don't have the same talent here. Once again, they find themselves down a talent versus Ascent, and so Vanquish have to be really careful in pushing with these. They really don't want to push out too far. They could really be punished for it. In level 16 talents, looking at it, we do have Stoneform for Meriden, the double bombs, Bullseye for Raynor, so he will be able to have a stun off that penetrating round.
Really?
And everything else. Yeah, ton of waves. Oh no, Stoobs, watch out! And here goes, okay, the Void Prison, also the Hyperion, and the Devouring Maw at the same time. I don't think the synergy was quite there for them at all, but at least trying to get this Web Weaver down before it starts moving in onto their fort.
Well, top was already cleaned up, and now there goes the mid. Now, there it is, and it is down, but enough was there. Level 16, we have equaled out the talent advantages, and even with that disadvantage, we still pushed in and got the work done from Vanquish, so they can't really be too unhappy with how they were able to perform, the talent tier down, and now equaled at 16. Something to note is that Profusional, you've been looking at him a lot, but Composite Arrows, Arsenal Frost Shot, not the build I would have expected, seeing with so many squishies on the other side there from Ascent. I might have actually gone into a Q build myself with the Hungering Arrow, just try to get those duels, because you know that Zeratul has to blink in. And if he blinks in, he's all alone. All those arrows are going to land on his face, but it was actually the multi-shot by the end of it.
Maybe just looking to focus on lane clear and area of effect damage where they can, but now we've got another fight. Refusional is coming in with the Strafe. Mr. Tobacco, the only one who's getting low at all, and he has the Rager, so he's just going to get into the back with that Ghost Form, Ghost Wolf, trying to keep everyone else nice and healed. Ancestral is still available if they need it, but all their other heroics are down. March of the Black King, the only remaining heroic on the side of Vanquish, once again not going to use it.
So, call me crazy, Gilly. I think we actually have a little bit of a stronger late game with the way that Ascent is playing for Vanquish. I think Vanquish might actually have it past level 16 now going into level 20. If they can take one fight at the end of here, and I'm pretty sure that they have what it takes to do it, we might actually see a Vanquish win and come back by the end of it. I mean, these last set of fights, Vanquish doing well against a talent advantage, and now they're trading out evenly. Ascent has just been flubbing their ultimate combos. Not that there's really one kind of to set up for it, but one good Condemn, one good Mark to the Black King. I think they could do it.
You know why I think we didn't see the March of the Black King? It's he was holding 43 gems, and so he's turned those in now. He only has 9. Unfortunately, he's stuck in a Void Prison, but maybe he'll use it here for the Unstoppable. No, he tries to Wraith Block out. That is not going to happen. Here is Hyperion. Pericletos has decided now is the time for them to push in and put some structure damage down, and it is doing so much to this gate. 2 towers eliminated, gate is there, and they're moving on to the keep.
Now, Subs and crew, like, they're really going to be trying to push this advantage for a keep. There's 2 defenders down, and Cirque is finally going to be back up, and he's right there in the front line. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually hit with the Q, but Johanna's down there as well. So they pushed and they got more experience. If they can continue getting picks like this, then you're going to have to disregard everything I just said, because Ascent will win. But it's in the back of my mind. Vanquish can actually take a single fight. I think it might be enough to tip into their favor if they can get that level advantage, if they can get even close to 19 by the time Ascent is at 20. I'm very curious to see what kind of late game they can show me here.
We need 1 gem turned in, but the one person who has it, Emperor, is going to have to get away. There was a March of the Black King, did not do much of anything.
Kept him alive, though.
Push it off. Yeah, it did keep him alive, for sure.
Yeah, and that was the goal of it. I mean, he had to use it, and sure, it's going to be on cooldown. That's fine. But is there enough space created? Do we have enough gems? We do. And there it is. Oh, we're down by
They're down 1. Both
Who has
teams
it?
down by
the Orc has it. He's top. It's cool. Nope, he's going to get it. They're going to even lose Uther, but they do got the Web Weavers, and it's going to be a little bit of a tough spot to get any advancement with these Web Weavers. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still so neck and neck. At least in my eyes, it's still neck and neck.
Hyperion in 7 seconds. Will they use it here and just try to go straight for the keep? They're working on the keep anyway. Banelings are going to go out. They don't have Uther for another 27 seconds, but they also have... There it is! They're going to try to deal with these Web Weavers. Let the Hyperion move in. It'll be able to take out the keep. As I think so, yes. One last shot from Yamato was enough. And the first keep is down.
Getting harder and harder. Level 17, nowhere close to that 19 that I wanted to see. 20 is here. It is going to be the Nexus Frenzy. We got Rewind, Bolt, Zeratul. Well, it's got to be either the Bolt or the Rewind himself. Rewind is typically what you're going to see on a Mirrodin. And there's one looking for the second. Have to see if that will come to pass. So what did the Web Weavers get? Pretty much nothing. And now we've actually lost the threat of Web Weavers going the way of Vanquish. So perhaps I'm giving them too much credit, Keely.
Well, once again, they got a turn in, but it was when they were down a talent here. And now they're going to go after an attack here. They do catch out Raynor with the strafe. All of the members are pretty low. Only Mr. Tobacco and Oramus have anything to try to make something happen here for a turnaround. They do have a really good Maw, though, and I think that's enough to try to push them out. But what Vanquish might be able to do here is go for the boss with Raynor down. They've got to be careful, though. They don't have their Storm Tier talents.
They took down the Raynor. I was curious to see if we're going to take on anybody else, but unfortunately the pressure basically stopped right there. And that was good. The one gem that we needed here from Ascent. They do have those Storm Tier talents. You're right. 20 to 18 is a tough spot. But if they had taken 2 kills, I don't know. Like, I really want to see this Vanquish kind of come together as a team. I think they can do it. Fortunately, they just keep making silly little mistakes. That's going to be Emperor. He has to rewind to get out of this one. He's going to throw down the Avatar there as well. We don't have Raynor still. We're going to get a big heal. Emperor will get that Ancestral, and now it's still turning it around. Not a lot of damage coming down on top of Vanquish. Subs is now actually going to be out of this, and now Mr. Tobacco, he's already used that big heal. Unfortunately, the range damage is not chasing him down, and again, I think Vanquish could absolutely take these fights, but Ascent is splitting up, and there seems to be no coordination from Vanquish to kind of seal the deal on these.
Yeah, that was a fantastic disengage. I was really concerned about the fact that Ascent tried to even fight in there in the first place, but they did get Muradin out. They did use Avatar, but it'll be up in 60 seconds, and there already were Web Weavers pushing, so they were able to distract Ascent, or distract Vanquish from being able to stop these Web Weavers. Now the Web Weaver is at the bottom keep. Hyperion is in here too. It's falling incredibly rapidly. It will go down. Only 1 keep remaining on the side of Vanquish, who, by the way, still have it nearly a full level to go before they're caught up in talents.
Yeah, and then we're about to hit 21. There it is, Ascent. A little bit extra base damage coming. It is. All 5 are up. Emperor, he does not have that rewind this time. He should have the energy to get out of this one. There goes that. Now that's a money maw. That is a money maw. The Wailing Arrow's not going to hit anybody in the end for the disengage, but Zeratul is actually still the one to fall. The shield on Ultima kept him alive, and despite finally seeing a really good combo coming out from Ascent, they are still the ones on retreat, and they are still the ones with the talent advantage.
They do not have Zeratul here. He is out for 48 seconds. A great Dwarf stops Emperor from being pulled in from the Condemned. They used the Maw in the Void Prison to try to cap those bruisers. Unfortunately for them, the one bruiser that was left got stuck in the Void Prison. So they weren't quite able to cap that there. They nearly lost all of their lives. They did lose Zeratul, but at least they walked away with the rest of them. However, this is the opportunity for Vanquish to go after the boss, and they are doing it.
You're kidding me!
What did Emperor just do? Did he go after the bruisers?
The bruisers was just sitting there. Nobody capped it.
No! Why?
Sir, we're gonna get a boss, but now we have 2 lanes of catapults and Emperor and these bruisers to push down, so it's not even gonna be a big push coming out of Vanquish. Like, I don't know how that didn't get noticed by anybody, but this is still a 22-minute boss, and Emperor is not there. He's kind of off doing his own devices. We still have 2 down here looking for the Stone Bros, so the defense is not exactly going to be solid. This is going to be the gate into this top, and that's going to be the level 20 coming out for Vanquish as well. We are finally done with disadvantages. Can Vanquish finally push forward and get the team fight that I keep thinking that they're very capable of doing?
Well, this boss is going to open up toward the keep. Only 1 tower remaining. So with Web Weavers, if they can get a turn in, they only need a few more, but they don't quite have enough on their persons to be able to quite net that turn in. So they're going to have to go in and clear some of their lanes out. Unfortunately for them, they've got catapults pushing against them, but at least that does kind of push the lanes in their advantage where they don't have to go out on the map too far to be able to get some of those spiders and start picking up. Like, look, ants are gonna get a whole bunch right here, a whole bunch of gems. Now, that being said, Ascent has turned in all of the gems that they have, and that means they can feel completely comfortable with getting into a fight. They just need to land the combo that they have. Otherwise, it's gonna be at an extreme disadvantage for them.
All right, every single heroic is up, level 21 to 21. Where was that 2-level advantage that we were looking for? 3-level advantage at 1 point. So I also just looked at the season marksmen, 49 to 58. Zeratul kind of trailing against the Rainer, but still 50 extra auto attack damage is absolutely insane on small little matches like this. So really well played right there to Ascent, you know, picking up quite a bit of extra damage for those auto attacks, but still, at the end of this, they need to still solidify 1 more fight. 1 more fight, and the game is basically done. They're going to have enough spam between Zagara and that Hyperion, I think, to take down the core, and Vanquish is very aware of that. Unfortunately, there's so many more gems in the bank right now for Ascent. They've already turned in so many more. Despite the fact we actually have enough to turn in from Vanquish, they're still holding on to theirs, whereas the rest are already guaranteed for Ascent.
Emperor being the only one who has any, they are trying to chase down some of these members here, and they've caught Ormus and Parakletos kind of out here away from the rest of the team. Rainer is getting so very low, is silenced by the Wailing Arrow, and an aggressive bolt forward will take him down. So it is a 4v5. Ancestral Heal goes down on Soup to keep him alive. The Indestructible, I believe, has been procced. Their Iron Skin has to go down because Johanna is so very low, as is Ultima, who will most likely go down, but he does have the redemption. He will come back up, but Ascent is on the chase. They've caught Leor. He won't be able to get away. He is going to go down. A redemption for Uther, though, means he will be saved, but I think that should be enough gems to net 1 more turn in for Ascent.
Yeah, they only need 10 and 14 amongst their peers. Yeah, 3, 7. Okay, cool. So they will have enough for the turn-in. It was a 2-for-1, but I mean, Rainer down for 25 means that you're probably not going to see a big push until at least he comes back. So are we turning in those gems? No, we're taking our time. They are going to try to draw out this death timer so that Rainer is back into play and they can actually time out for the Web Weavers. There's 1 keep and 2 lanes of catapults that they can use to their advantage, but Juke Step and Shrek, like, oh no, that was a blessed shield gone out that Juke Step didn't hit anybody with. This could actually go from bad to worse very quickly here for Vanquish.
They don't have laner quite here yet. Ascent have to be so careful here. I'm worried about the fact that they stalled this, but so far it has worked for their favor. And there is Pericletus. They're breathing a sigh of relief. Now they just need to turn in those 7 on Mr. Tobacco. They just have to force everyone back, and it looks like Vanquish is not in a position here to stop them. And Divine Shield being used just to stop him from getting hit by the Storm Bolt.
Yep.
That's down for 63 more seconds.
That might be it. That might actually be it. They have no shield, no redemption. Johanna's indestructible, I think, is actually still down. And Cirque is way too far forward. Has to use that Wraith Walk to try to get out of this one. We got stunned. The leap, the rewind into another stun, but it hit the wall as well as the tower. Did not actually land on top of Cirque, and now it's a little bit of a retreat coming in from this top lane. But remember, 2 lanes of catapults. We got 2 sets of web weavers. Zeratul is still actually threatening into the mid, even if they can't see him. This is still very much a defensive posture from Vanquish, and if they can't defend here, this is going to be it. Like, this is do or die time for Ascent.
And they need the defense of the year as they're moving in. We're going for core. We're forgetting about the last keep. They don't need it. They know that they can go for core here, but they are going to have to get a couple of takedowns. The web weaver in mid already down. The web weaver from bottom moving in toward the core. It looks like actually Vanquish or Ascent not feeling confident enough to go for that core at this point. They're going to help this top web weaver try to push in toward the final keep. They really want to be able to have catapults pushing in every single lane. Jukestack may get caught out here. Indestructible has to proc and will be able to get away. But Hyperion helping the members of Ascent pick up this final keep.
Was that actually indestructible that popped? I don't think it was.
It was a huge shield.
Yeah, that was Ultima and Protective Shield.
Oh, was it?
She popped on I'm pretty sure she popped Unstoppable.
Iron Skin plus the Protective Shield then?
Well, if she did, it's already back off cooldown. Either way, it was a massive shield. You are right. I am pretty sure she still has the indestructible now. I think it has been enough time. And they hold. They hold. They've been 2 keeps down this entire time, but they do hold. There was a threat on top of Boss, but everyone does kind of go back and collapse on top of these bruisers. Subs and Mr. Tobacco now going on top of this here. And 23-22, this is our longest game, I think, that we've casted this weekend, Gilead. 28.5 minutes in. Still, I mean, Vanquish are having a tough time trying to get any kind of control on the map, but we don't have really a big threat of more web weavers coming out from Ascent. They got 10 gems to their name, whereas we have so many more on the bodies here of Vanquish. If they can strike out to either the turn-in points or if they can get a kill, they can actually get their own web weavers.
I see pings on the throw pit.
Yeah,
and
I see it
are
too.
going toward the boss. This lane, by the way, the only lane with a fort gone for Ascent, and the Void Prison has to go down on Jukestep and Ultima. Clairvoyance was revealing Zeratul, but they were still able to catch that and stay safe for now. There is the March of the Black King. Does not really hit much of anything. In fact, the penetrating round pushes him back, so he can't really deal much damage with that. Now Answer very low, will go down. Willing arrow drops on 3 members of the team, but Hyperion comes out. Mr. Tobacco is going to heal back up, and this looks to be it. Johanna has fallen. Luther is down. He has redemption, but it might not be enough as he's trying to run away from the rest of the members. He's just barely up in front, and he should be back up here. Provisional is low, and they've caught Ultima once again. He will fall, and Vala will too. Only Surveillance remains as the defense. This should be game.
I'll give props to Vanquish. They really actually did drag this out a lot longer than I think a lot of people were giving them credit for by that. But still, it looks like they will fall. That was, what, 4, 5, 6 kills in that team by 2 on Leoric, 2 on the Uther, and 2 more on top of the Jaina. And now as well, Sylvanas makes it a whole wipe, and that will be game. Ascent will move on after a very hard-fought victory. Still, crazy game, like really crazy series. Good game, well played to Vanquish. I was impressed with both. I really was.
Yeah, both teams did a fantastic job. Vanquish really rocking the Blackheart's Bay and doing a great job on this one too. They definitely had the better synergy, it seemed, in some of those team fights, but when it came down to it, Ascent was able to start picking up those takedowns, and I'm not getting an invite to our next game.
Oh, geez, they want to get this going already. I mean, we are kind of late to the Complexity party, but it is Ascent that has that invite to that party, as we are going to be going to observe Ascent versus Complexity here into the round of 32. Good game, well played, Vanquish. I really thought that the late game you guys were going to bring it back, but by the end of it all, it's just much better control from Ascent. They really held that map to their name. The Hyperion for the push ended up being very worthwhile. And totally off with my Rainer builds. You just don't get to see them that often, I suppose. But at the same time, Ascent is now into the money. $300 of Blizzbucks to be added to the team's account. And if they can somehow beat Complexity, that's going to be a tall order. They are going to double that down and be into the round of 16 there as well. Exciting stuff.